This is Canucks Only.
This is Canucks Only.
Here are your hosts, Shylo Smith and Rob Young.
Shylo, how are you?
Rob, I'm great, thanks.
Excellent. Time for another episode of Canucks Only. We're doing multiple episodes in one night because we're a little behind because you know what? We're busy dads and we got stuff going on all the time.
Got lots going on.
It's October 12th. We are in game 2 or post game 2 of the season, but we're going to talk about game 1, Canucks in Calgary, the season opener for Canucks. It was the second game for the Calgary Flames, and we'll take the first break in the schedule where Calgary played back to back. I believe it was. Let me double check that. But they had this was their second game.
Yep.
Where they beat Edmonton.
Yep.
And so, what were
beat Edmonton in a shootout? I think it went to round 8 rounds in the shootout or something like that.
That's right. And so, did you watch the game?
The Canucks Flames game or the Flames Edmonton game? Actually, I watched
Canucks Flames,
so it doesn't really matter.
Canucks Flames.
Yeah, I watched all of them. I did watch the Canucks and the Flames game, and
So what was your thoughts and takeaways on game 1, which the Canucks looked pretty darn good?
Oh, we're gonna win the Stanley Cup. I was like, this is it. This is the team. We're gonna go. This is amazing. I was like, even Petey got an assist. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Evander Kane got an assist. It was like everyone got a point. It was like I was loving it. Right?
I'll give a shout out to my buddy great. Jazz, who on our Canucks iMessage thread is the always the first one to shout that in all caps. We're going to win the Stanley Cup when something positive happens. So shout out to my buddy Jazz for being the eternal optimist, and thanks for some great seats that he treated himself to season tickets this year. But that we'll save that for another story, another episode. But what did you see else in that game?
The thing I really liked is that the depth really showed. We got Sherwood looked amazing and got a goal. Leckermäki got a goal. Some of the like Atu Ratu, and this is sort of the flip side where not the amazing, but he really wasn't overly noticeable. Coots looked great, but he didn't really generate anything. But he played a good game. I think it really looked like they were a team. It looked like everything that they'd gone through in the preseason was leading up to this, and man, did they come together and did they really play well as a team? And I was very excited to see that. That I think is what excited me the most. The fact that they were making solid passes to each other, covering each other, good rotations, good work getting out of the zone. It was everything just seemed to be working for them. Now Calgary was on a back-to-back that went to like the 8th round of a shootout, so it was a little bit late, but that you can't take what the Canucks did and say that it was only because the Flames were tired. The Canucks made the plays happen. It's not like they were just sort of fumbling around and getting fluke points in because the opponent was exhausted. They actually were making those plays happen, and it was exciting to see it.
I agree. They looked great. I tweeted out or somewhere, maybe on Canucks Quest. I was recording an episode today. We handled the Flames. We handled them completely. We looked like everything that we saw in preseason was right there. Now, on the flip side, the Flames look not great. I feel a little bit bad for them for all that's happened from the last few years. But they've got some young players, but they looked, in comparison to our young players, they looked slow. They looked, I I mean, I want to say unmotivated. That's not the right word, but they didn't look the same as our young players. And that was a huge, huge difference for what I could see against Calgary, besides being tired. And that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to have long road trips and, you know, it's the NHL trying to even out the horrible schedule that we have, Edmonton has, Seattle has, and maybe Los Angeles and Anaheim. You know, the West Coast teams really suffer for that. So we'll take the points where we can, but you have to win those games when they're presented to you. You can't take those ones lightly and just give up on those points.
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
Without peaking, what do you think Thatcher Demko's save percentage is after 2 games?
After 2 games?
Yeah.
Save percentage?
Yeah.
920?
Yeah, it's 944.
944.
Even after the Edmonton game.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
That is impressive.
He got 944 in both games.
Wow.
Incredibly enough. So,
yeah, I guess, yeah, because he took a ton of shots in the Edmonton game, so that makes sense. But
yeah. So anyways, it's just an aside, but
that's amazing. And I'm more of a fan of the save percentage than I am the goals against.
Yeah, save percentage is a true goalie stat, right?
Yeah.
Versus the goals against is even empty netters go in that one, I believe. So that's not a true stat for me for a goalie. But yeah, you know, Chytil could have had 4 goals in that game.
Oh, I so wanted him to get a hat trick.
And he said that one he sent right through the crease. Yeah. I don't know how he didn't score on that opportunity. He looked great.
Yeah,
you know, he looked. And so my thought at that point was, wow, if this is the Chytil that can show up for most of the games, let's say 75%, that's good. I mean, we'll take it. I'll take it. You know, I'm still, you know, I'm still a little broken from the potential of losing the JT Miller, but now Miller's hurt in New York. And so we can all relish in that, in like, as I air quote, win the trade. You know, they made him the captain right away in New York. And so that kind of sucks for us. And just, you know, it's a little bit of salt in our wounds. But if Chytil's going to play like that, I think, and we've got Mancini. And who else did we get? I can't remember. But okay, you know, we'll take it. I'll 100% take it. Chytil's big, he's fast, and he's super creative. Like, he's a very creative player. And that was what, you know, I'm sure the Canucks brass saw in him. I still would have rather had that Will Cooley. He's younger and doesn't have the concussion history in New York. He's also left winger. But, you know, it's all done now. And so, but if Chytil plays like that, we'll be fine. You know, we'll be fine for getting what we need out of Filip Chytil for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. As long as he can stay healthy, I think we'd be laughing.
So, what do you think about the Arshdeep Bains PK shift? Do you remember that?
All I remember is that they did really good, and I don't even think they got like or it was like 1 shot on net or no shots on net, and he blocked like how many shots did he block?
I think
3,
at least 2 on that.
2 in that,
maybe
in
3.
that one, but I think 3 in the game. Like he was amazing on the PK.
He was a bit of a beast.
Our PK that first game was great. Now with penalty kills, that's where like someone might say, like I might say, you know, okay, fatigue can actually play a part in another team's power play, because it actually is exhausting to be on the power play, right? Like it's tiring to be on the PK more so, but being on the power play, like moving that around, like it's mentally fatiguing, and you're always trying to find open ice, so you're always moving. So it, you know, that's where you might say, okay, well, Calgary was a little fatigued for that, but he was like blocking shots. He was like our PK in overall was awesome. How many penalties were there that game? 3 against Canucks? Do you remember?
I have it here. There was five penalties
against.
Too many men.
Wow. Wow.
Boarding DPD got the boarding penalty.
Oh yeah.
Chytil got tripping, and then Sherwood for roughing. So we got 5 penalties. They had 5 as well. So,
yeah. That's okay. I mean, I don't. The split's not
Calgary
what
went 0 for 4. So
yeah, and they went 0 for 4, and it was it their which it was like the last penalty that they got that they scored on, isn't it? Last power play.
The power play went 0 for 4 on Calgary. Is that what you're talking about? And the Canucks were 0 for 4 as well. So they must have got one late, and so that's maybe what you're thinking of. But.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, all I know is that I loved watching the PK, and Bains looked great out there. Like he looked like he was proving himself to be an NHL player.
Right. Yeah, and so the reason I threw that up as a question for you is that I think, and again, the preseason game versus Edmonton and this one for me solidified that Bains has kind of arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's got growth still. I think his foot speed can get a little bit better. He's not the fastest, but the creative plays at the top level, he made 3 passes that I think that 97 out of 100 NHLers wouldn't make.
Mm-hmm.
There were such high end, kind of the Cliff Ronning, or I won't go as high as McGillney. Not even, I think even in a Brendan Morrison, I think more towards Naslund than a Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
A high end plays that were super out of the ordinary that most guys wouldn't even see. And he spun off to avoid a hit, and he threw a very irregular pass back to the defenseman behind the net. And I was like, okay, I see what's here. I think his hockey IQ is very high.
Mm-hmm.
His vision is very high. And so that's nothing but a bonus for us.
Yeah.
If he can translate that and keep going a little bit more, because I think he's right on the cusp right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge win for our depth and for an offensive spark, because that kind of offensive flair, you find it in European players coming over time or Russians, and they can't do the physical part of the game and stick. But he, that PK shift showed me a lot. And then his high end creativity, because, the last few years, I think maybe since Tortorella came and they put Henrik and Daniel on the PK, offensive players know what offensive players are going to do. And that's why they do well a lot of times on the PK, because they can anticipate things that they would do and they get to that ahead of you. That's why PD is a great PK. There's lots of other examples,
mm-hmm.
but that you could see the smarts, and that was very exciting for me to see that from Bains. And I haven't been a big Bains fan up until right now.
Yeah.
I was like, I hear the rah-rah. I understand the rah-rah. Local boy does good. Surrey boy does good. Amazing. It's a fantastic story. But for me, people say, oh, he's so quick now. I'm like, I didn't see the foot speed. His foot speed's better.
Yeah.
I think the Calder Cup run was tremendous. And they said in Abbotsford that he was one of their best penalty killers because he specialized in it down there,
yeah.
which is amazing. And with those offensive smarts and abilities, that's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I did not think, like, last year that I was like, no, I don't see him being an NHLer. I just he's going to be a really good AHL player. That was my thoughts on him.
Right.
And the last 2 preseason games, leading up to this game, I was like, you know what? Like, this kid's proven me wrong. I see the ability for him to actually be an NHLer now. And he's just got to keep working at it, right? Like, as long as he doesn't settle, because I don't think he's a raw talent. He's got good hockey sense, good hockey IQ, but I don't think he's like a raw talent player.
And what do you mean by that? Because I think he's got tons of offensive tools.
He's got tons of what do I mean by that? I mean, and I'm not trying to compare them, but I'm saying like Quinn Hughes on a bad day is still, in the top 20 of the best defensemen
in
the NHL. He's just got that raw talent that even when he has a bad day, he's still really good. And with Bains, I haven't seen that. Like, I mean, I go back to last season, right? So I'm picturing last season and I'm going, his not good games were like AHL quality. Like they're not even NHL quality. So that's why I'm saying like he's still got to make sure he's working on it and not settling, right? Because if he does that and he keeps doing what he's doing now, he can have a long career in the NHL. Like he looks good. He looks like an NHLer. It's just a matter of does he keep up with it? I think you mentioned before last episode, I think it was, about sort of like complacency, right? Like I think we're talking about the defensemen, and it's just like you sort of settle, right? And and you don't push yourself once you sort of get to a certain point. I think Bains is the type of guy he's gonna have to be like Burrows, where Burrows went out every game and like it was his last game, right? And if Bains plays like that, he can have a very nice and long, because he's smart. Right. He's got the tools, but he's got to utilize them.
Totally. And what's surprised me is seeing the projected lineups coming out that morning or that afternoon for the Flames game. Bains was on the second line.
Mm-hmm.
They had Kane on the third line.
Yep.
So and when I saw that, I thought, oh, wow. And it's the credit to the coaching staff. It's like, you want to put players in roles where they can succeed or thrive with the tools that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a third line player? Well, Coots is there right now, right? So Ratu's on the fourth line replacing Bluger.
Mm-hmm.
And so that shows to me that when Bluger comes back, Ratu's going to go to the third line and Coots is kind of out. Just thinking about it right now. Yeah. But Bains in the second line playing with Chytil and to get some offensive chemistry going.
Mm-hmm.
I think for a while now, I think the NHL, you can always have the best line in hockey, back to the old Hossa, Alfredson, Spezza, and was it Heatley? The dominant lines, and then now you have McKinnon, and it was Rantanen and whoever, or Dallas with Robertson, Johnson, whoever. Like you can have the best trio, but really it comes down to consistent pairs. And if Bains can find some chemistry with either Chytil or if they break up Pettersson and DeBrusk, there can be some magic. When you find offensive players that can have chemistry with another player and do things that, we'll talk about the Naslin Bertuzzi, with Morrison, or let's say, I'm caught myself off guard here, but duos are easier to find than obviously trios at this point.
Yes.
Anyways, but good on them for putting him higher in the lineup to succeed versus lower in the lineup and struggle.
Yeah.
And so that's I really love that from this coaching staff so far. That's I think in the preseason game against Edmonton, he was lower in the lineup and did great. So anyways, there is a lot to like about where Bains is at as far as his development, and that's good for us.
Yep, fully agree.
Did you see anything from Kane that you liked in the Calgary game? I'm going to have a few thoughts about Kane at the moment, but
he looked. I'm not trying to be mean. He looked like he hasn't played for a season.
Yeah, so, I agree.
I'm not, I'm not saying that that I don't think he will, that he won't be a good asset, but I definitely think so in my mind, I'm basically saying I'm not even going to bother evaluating him until we get to, American Thanksgiving, right?
Or even beyond, because honestly,
Christmas.
I mean, he thrives in the playoffs, right? He is made for the playoffs. He's built for the playoffs. And really, he needs to contribute before then. But, what stood out to me was that he tried a couple of drop passes. I'm surprised he tried it the second or third time. A couple of missed passes to Hughes on the point. Yeah. And that'll take time. But I hadn't thought about in that context, but you're right. He looks like a player who hasn't played in a year. Yep. So he looks okay. Yep. Kane's doing, the physical presence, but I think his hands is not there. His skating looks fine, but his hands are not there. Yeah,
hands not there, and maybe a little bit of timing, right? Just sort of getting used to the speed again, right? And he's also playing with players that, he played with fast players in the the playoffs there, but different style. But he's so to get used to the speed, to get used to how everyone's playing. I'm giving him a long chunk of rope, but he's still out there being physical. He's still sort of doing the stuff I like to see. I'm just kind of maybe keep it to the basics. Don't try anything too fancy or too, too showy. Let's just keep it simple. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's it. It's showing. It shows that he did not play at all last season.
Yeah, and that's super fair. And I felt bad too, even thinking that sort of some criticism on it, but I had forgotten about that, to be perfectly honest. It's Kane. He should be able to step in a little bit better. But yeah, I think you're right. It's the year off for sure, and he'll catch up. Mm-hmm. He's a seasoned vet. He's got a great toolkit with some great tools in it. What I really want to see him do is to step in exactly what Miller did last year. Come down low on the left circle, wait for the pass from Hughes. If Petey's on the right side for the one-timer, Hughes at the top of the umbrella, and him ready for a left side shot of the left side circle, just like Miller used to. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm surprised we haven't seen that look in 2 games so far, because they're obviously missing that personnel. Either it's Chytil or it's him. Yeah. And Chytil is going to be on power play too, it looks at this point. But yeah, I've been a little what's the right word? I want to say underwhelmed. I want to say shocked, but I'm not going to use either one of those words. It's really I was just slightly disappointed to see some of those misplays from him, but it'll be fine, because it's funny because they have him on the third line on the game sheet for the Flames here, and that's fine. He was playing with Lekkerimäki and Coots. Yeah. Give Coots some room out there, but I think he moved up and down the lineup, and from what I've seen from Foot and the coaching staff so far is that I think they're doing a good job so far. I think we'll talk about game 2 in a bit here, but game 1 looked fantastic for me. Yeah. Demko wasn't very busy, but
there's only one area that I was disappointed in, and it's one of those things that when you win, it's hidden, but when you lose, it's very obvious. And that's face-offs. So they were really bad at the dot with Calgary. I think they're really bad with Edmonton too, but we'll talk about that later. But they were 40, I want to think 48, 47%, something like
43.6. So
43. Oh, it's even worse than I thought.
Yeah, so that's a good memory by you, good remembering. But obviously, Ratu's going to be strong, and then Coots, and then Chytil and Pettersson are. I mean, Pettersson traditionally can be good on the face-offs, but I'm not sure he's there yet. But yeah, totally.
So yeah, that's something that I mean, because possession's everything, right?
Right.
And if you can't be over 50%, that means
you're not nearer to 50% for sure, not at 44%, and that's
No. rounding
it up from 43.6.
Exactly. And then if you don't have possession, you're not going to get the shots. You don't get the shots, you're not getting the goals, and that's where things look. That's where it becomes a little bit more difficult. So, but yeah. Anyway, that was you know, if I had one critique or one issue with the Calgary game, it was our performance on the dot. Everything else looked really good. I'm loving our PK. I really am.
Nice.
But yeah, other than that one little hiccup there, I think it was a solid game and everyone looked really good. Cohesion was there. People were, you know, they were playing like a team. It was really good to watch.
Yeah. And I agree and I recorded a sort of a bit of a rant to myself just to collect my thoughts. Mm-hmm. But I really got excited after that game. All the things we just talked about in the preseason episode about potential, the optimism, it carried over from the Edmonton game preseason to, you know, kind of what we were seeing. And then this win, I thought, wow, I think I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong in where I'm at. And it really gave me a sense of like, I think my take was wrong. And it was refreshing because I don't like living in that space for the Canucks because we've lived in that for far too long and too many seasons where we have, I'll say that we're out of our cap window right now. I'll say that the JT Miller debacle for me effectively ended the cap window for the moment. I don't see us competing against Dallas, Colorado, or Vegas or Edmonton at that point. So I will say that, but with Miller 2 years ago, we could have that regular season had beaten Florida twice. Mm-hmm. We almost beat Edmonton, and you know Edmonton went to the finals. But I don't see that right now. But this game changed it. Preseason and this one, I'm like, oh my goodness, I felt lighter. You know, you can tell Vancouver's in a bad mood after the Canucks lose, and we're all in a good mood after a win. And it's funny, and it seems like what's the right word? Like an overstatement, or there's something in them I'm trying to think of, but or an exaggeration, but it's not really. You know, there's a lot of people that walk around grumpy after a Canucks loss. Yep. And I foresaw, without seeing the preseason or in the summer, and no trades, no free agent signing, the summer of nothing, a looming Quinn Hughes contract, I felt more dread coming, and this game lightened it for me. Yes. And I was very appreciative of that. So that was my sort of takeaway from that. Demko looked amazing. Demko injury, all the things that we needed answers for. The only one that wasn't clearly answered in any sort of measure was Petey. And, you know, it's game one. So we were in this snapshot, in this recapture of that game. It's fine. You know, Petey's got time to work it out. Yeah. So, but it left me with a good feeling. And it lightened the mood for sure. Mm-hmm. Anything else that stood out to you for game one?
No, not really. I think it just they looked like a team, and it's nice to see that early in the season.
Yeah, and the potential, and we can see some of the potential. Yeah, and the young players, and we saw a little glimmer of light at that distant end of that tunnel way down there. So, Okay, well, let's wrap it up for this one. Another episode of Canucks Only, game one of the 2025-2026 season. We've got 82 of these more to go, and this was good. I like recapturing this with you, and so let's do it again.
You betcha.
Talk about game number 2 in our next episode. So we'll see you, Shylo, in the next episode.
All right, I'll see you then. Thanks, Rob.
All right.
Thank you for watching Canucks Only.
Canucks Only. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe.